From the LTFRB to Malacanang, Attorney Cheloy Garafil temporarily heads the Office of the Press Secretary as officer in charge. Authorities now have a person of interest in the murder of radio broadcaster Percy Lapid. A 1.5 million peso reward is also offered to anyone who can provide information leading to the suspect's arrest. And heads up to motorists, a big-time increase in pump prices is likely due next week after the OPEC's decision to slash production. Fast, focused, and fearless, here's a roundup of stories we're watching now. I'm Jess De Los Santos. Malacanang has confirmed the appointment of Attorney Cheloy Garafil as officer in charge of the Press Secretary's office. Garafil resigned as chairperson of the LTFRB and accepted the offer to become Press Undersecretary. In a statement, she thanked President Bongbong Marcos for the opportunity to serve under a different office. The president earlier said that 3 names are being a formal announcement on the matter is expected next week. Meanwhile, board member Riza Marie Paches has been appointed officer in charge of the LTFRB. Volcanic activity has been reported over in Mayon and Bulusan. PHIVOLCS says alert level 2 has been raised at the Mayon Volcano after it observed freshly extruded lava this morning. Despite this, PHIVOLCS says sulfur dioxide emissions in Mayon remain below baseline levels. Meanwhile, state volcanologists also saw an increase in volcanic activity in Bulusan. 29 volcanic earthquakes and weak steam emissions were observed in the volcano. Despite this, Mount Bulusan is still under alert level 0, meaning volcanic activity in the area is still considered normal. Now, higher petroleum prices are expected next week after OPEC announced its biggest oil production cut since the onset of the pandemic. Camille Samonte with the story.
Members of the Organization of the Petroleum Exporting Countries, or OPEC, and its allies have agreed to cut oil production by 2 million barrels per day. This is equivalent to 2% of the global oil supply, the biggest oil production cut since the pandemic. OPEC's de facto leader Saudi Arabia said the cut of 2 million barrels per day was necessary due to rising interest rates in the West and the weaker global economy. This comes despite pleas from the US and other countries to pump more after oil's price has spiked due to supply disruptions from the Russia-Ukraine war. In a statement, the White House said that US President Joe Biden was disappointed by the short-sighted decision. In the past months, oil prices have gone down due to decreasing global demand. But because of the oil production cut, petroleum prices are expected to go up once again after 5 consecutive weeks of price rollback.
Biglaan po ang desisyon nila ay magbabawas sila ng 2 million barrels per day. Ito'y napakalaki po kumpara doon sa nauna nilang testing noong October na 100,000 barrels lang. So, ito'y inaasahan po natin na magpupos po nung reverse ng trend. Instead na rollback.
Gasoline prices are expected to go up next week by 1 peso per liter, while a 4 pesos increase is expected for diesel. Kerosene prices are also expected to go up by 2 pesos. Senate President Mig Zubiri has expressed his concern over the cut in oil production, which will likely push commodity prices higher. Inflation remains elevated at 6.9% in September, the highest in 4 years.
That's unfair to non-oil producing countries. Kawawang-kawawa tayo dyan. Sa binanggit po nilang controls of 2 million barrels a day less output, it will affect the prices of fuel, which will again increase our pump prices on a local level. And it will trigger inflationary.
For News 5, Camille Samonte, We Are One News.
More stories after this short break. Stay with us here on One News. You're still watching One News Now. I'm Jess De Los Santos. The Philippine National Police has identified a person of interest in the killing of radio broadcaster Percy Lapid. Authorities showed a CCTV footage where the supposed gunman was seen walking near Las Piñas City Hall wearing a pink jacket. Another man was also identified as the driver of the motorcycle that was trailing Lapid. The reward for information leading to the suspect's arrest has been raised to 1.5 million pesos. Now, the government is looking at the possibility of having blended learning extended beyond November. Marian Enriquez has the report.
Vice President and Education Chief Sara Duterte will mark her first 100 days in office. When asked about her greatest accomplishment so far, the Vice President said it's to have face-to-face classes back after more than 2 years under the pandemic.
Napakahalaga na nabalik natin ang option ang mag-conduct ng 5 days in-person classes. And meron tayong mga schools right now na ganun nga yung ginagawa nila dahil nakita din nila na mas napapadali ang pagtuturo nila.
The DepEd has allowed schools to hold limited in-person classes since August, and come November, schools will have to implement full face-to-face classes. But that may still change as talks are underway for the possible extension of blended learning. This is after the agency confirmed that COVID-19 infections have been recorded in some schools.
Meron kaming report na ginagawa ngayon para sa Pangulong Marcos at makapagdesisyon siya kung ano po yung ways forward natin with regard to the options na binibigay natin sa ating mga eskwelahan.
Despite this, the DepEd chief says the important thing is the country is now able to respond accordingly to any uptick in COVID cases.
Ang mahalaga lang sa pandemic is that we ensure that yung bakuna ay available para sa ating mga citizens. And pangalawa, yung gamot na Molnupiravir at Paxlovid. Pangatlo, yung ating critical care capacities ng ating mga hospitals ay hindi na overwhelm.
As for schools damaged by natural calamities, the agency said they continue to provide temporary learning spaces.
Nagpapatuloy naman po yung mga learning ng ating mga learners kasi kahit naman po na may kakulangan man sa infrastructure, nag-i-implement naman po tayo as per protocol ng alternative delivery modes.
The DepEd added that they are now finalizing a budget wish list for Congress. The department earlier vowed to realign funds in order to restore funding for special education programs or SPED. For News 5, Marian Enriquez, we are One News.
For more updates, visit News 5, the Philippine Star, and Business World online. Visit our website, onenews.ph, for more in-depth analysis. You can also catch One News on the Signal Play app. Register for a free account now at www.signalplay.com and stream One News live anytime, anywhere. I'm Jess De Los Santos. We are One News.